About a year ago, I realized that I was extremely lonely. Why I hadn't realized sooner? I have no idea. Even though all the facts were right in front of me, telling me why I was like this. I told myself that I needed to put myself out there. I kept telling myself this for 2 weeks, until I finally got off my ass and decided to try online dating. I logged onto a website, of which I can no longer find on the internet, so it shall remain nameless. I took a deep breath. I created an account, swallowed my pride, and went on. Nothing weird or abnormal occurred, except that every time I looked away from the website's glistening gold logo, it looked like it flashed a different color for only a split second. I tried to catch it in the act several times and was unsuccessful, so I gave up trying and put my final bits of information into the website, including a profile picture, my email confirmation code, and so on. I began searching for women in my area, and surprisingly, I found 17 women who weren't much older than I was, in a 1 to 3 mile radius. Damn, I said to myself. I was about to say something else when an instant notification came up from a woman named, well, let's call her Abby. Abby and I began chatting, exchanging words like, oh, nice profile picture, thank yous and hellos, and many other words were being thrown around. I noticed that she was almost within walking distance of my apartment, actually, living only about 6 blocks down. I was going to ask if she wanted to do something later that day, but she took the words right out of my mouth. I replied with, sure, how's 7 p.m. sound for you? She said, anytime is fine, actually. Okay, well, see you later then. Smiley face. Bye. Smiley face. She left the chat. I started getting ready for what I thought might have been the biggest night of my entire life. As I was applying deodorant, I suddenly remembered that I hadn't told her my address. The worst part was, it was 6:58 p.m. Shit, I gotta tell her where I was cut off by a knock at the door. I had no idea what I was about to get into. I walked towards the door and opened it, thinking that I had received a package or something. But this was no package. Maybe a package from hell? I'll just say it. Abby was standing outside my door. She said, hello, Ray. I wanted to ask how she was there, but I politely responded, hi. You want to go to that fancy place down the street? She said. I was a bit nervous and reluctant to respond, but I thought for a second and said, sure. We walked out of my apartment, and I locked the door. The fact that she had somehow found my apartment no longer concerned me as it did before. What was important was that she was here, and I wasn't lonely anymore. We walked to the restaurant. We stayed and talked for about 2.5 hours. We ate excellent food, and were treated fairly. She wanted to come back to my apartment, and, of course, we all know what that means. I said, sure, it's up to you. We ran back to my apartment, and that was the official best night of my life. I awoke the next morning with her in my bed. She greeted me with a, good morning, honey. I replied with, good morning. She told me that she had to go, that her brother was coming from Kentucky that afternoon. We got dressed, and I said goodbye to her as I walked her to the door. I watched as she crossed the street. This was about a minute or two later. She was just walking off the sidewalk when a car suddenly hit her. I ran down to the street to see if I could clear her off the streets. Thank God it was a red light. I ran to where she was, but she wasn't there. Her body... I don't know how to properly explain this, but there was no trace of her. I swore to myself as I walked back into my apartment and started up my computer. I wanted to delete my account on that website so bad. I logged on and noticed the color-changing logo stayed the color it looked when I looked away. I had one message, and it was from Abby. "Hi, honey. Last night was amazing." I didn't respond. I just deleted my account. I was so done at that moment. Never again, I said to myself. Never